As of the time of filming, we have officially had the last of the 2026 Legacy sets revealed to us, and it was the X1 Ninja Charger. And that is certainly a revelation. But more on that later in the video. But with that reveal, we have had everything that we are getting for the year as far as we're aware. And it did spark the question for me of, was Legacy 2026 a success? Looking back at the old lines of Legacy, I would say that they were very successful in what they did. So is that one going to continue to follow suit? But to answer a question like that, we need to look at all of the sets individually. Some of them I have talked about, and if you haven't looked at my reviews, I would definitely recommend you do so. But I'm going to look at all of them, some in the post-review analysis, some in the I haven't talked about analysis, and some of them before I actually have them in hand. Obviously, things could change dependent on any factor, but as of now, I do think I have a comfortable idea as to whether or not 2026 was a success for this line of Ninjago sets. So let me not waste any more of your time, and let's talk about them. Now, to measure success when it does come to LEGO sets, you have to look at it in your own personal criteria. So remember, this is my own personal takeaway when it does come to these sets. But for me, what I look for is value in terms of money, value in terms of what you're getting, how accurate it is, how playable it is as a set, and just simply put, how desirable is it actually to get your hands on. That is for the most part what I am basing these off of. To go in order of how we actually found out about these sets, we're gonna start with the character display. This was one of the January sets, and I think it kind of goes for itself that this was a set that a lot of people considered to be a huge benefit when it does come to Ninjago. As far as I'm aware, some places to this very day still have this set on back order, which I do think is very telling, and a lot of non-Ninjago fans or Ninjago fans that don't buy sets anymore were picking this one up. I do think that is very notable to actually see, and honestly, it's for good reason. The build itself was fantastic, being the front of the monastery, and I love the details that did come with it. Having all of the Legacy ZX Ninja, that is a huge benefit and such a good value for money. Having Wu, having Nia, and also having one of the Elemental Masters for one of the collectibles being the Master of Lightning. For such a small price, it was absolutely fantastic for what it was. Like I said, I did a review on this set, and if you haven't checked it out, I would definitely recommend you do so. But like I said in that video, and after having it for nearly 2 months now, I have to say, this is by far one of the best sets that I've had in a very long time. I'm very frequently still going back to this set, just observing it if anything. There's not much in the way of playability, which is a factor I guess, but the set wasn't angled for that purpose. It was angled just as a display, and I just can't help but go back to it. Can't help but just enjoy the sight that is that set. I think it's done more than what it needed to do and accomplished everything that it needed to do as well. So Legacy was off to a fantastic start. So let's take a look at its wave mates. The second one was the blacksmith shop. This was certainly a set that a lot of people had some comments on, especially in terms of the price point of it. And again, I reviewed this set if you do want to check that out. But as I said in that video itself, it's still a set that I absolutely adore. In similar vein to the character display, I find myself very frequently going back to this set, just opening it up, looking at all the little play features, looking at all the extra little pieces that you do get, all of the Easter eggs that come along with it as well. It does just do everything I want in terms of a set. I think it's just such a well built and well put together. Truth be told, I dropped this set and it didn't break, and it wasn't that high of a drop, and I didn't drop it onto a hard floor, but it definitely did speak to the sturdiness of the set. I couldn't believe that it actually did survive that drop. But of course I am going to note the fact that it is a very pricey set. Yes, it is £90, and I believe that it's much more in other currencies as well. But the thing is that I still think it was kind of worth that price to me. I think it still came with everything that I wanted in a set, and I can see where the money went. I can see how intricate the design is and how detailed everything was, and the minifigure selection as well was absolutely fantastic. An accurate blacksmith Sky, actually getting the pilot's Nia, Wu, which was a reuse, fair enough, but getting Ray and Maya, getting the Master of Earth. It came with such a beautiful array of minifigures, and it felt like no cost was spared. I just think again 2 months on I have no regret with this purchase. There are sets that I bought for that price tag that I've definitely regretted later down the line, but in terms of this one I just simply don't think it happened. I think it was a really solid set and a fantastic one at that, and definitely continuing on a very strong start when it did come to Legacy. But there is one more from the January wave, and that is going to be Old Town. Old Town was a very big point of contention within the Ninjago community. There was a lot of rumour behind it, a lot of theory as to what was coming in it, and when it was all revealed, a lot of people found it immediately desirable. I for one have always described the set as basically a Ninjago CMF. It came with near enough everything that you could have truly have wanted. And I have picked that set up, and truth be told, I have been intended on reviewing it, I just simply haven't gotten to it. But even with the high price tag associated with it, it's still an absolutely amazing set. I will say, you should be now starting to see it within Weavy Wednesdays. If you haven't checked those out, I would recommend you do so as well. But it is just such a fun playset. There's so many details. Like I said with Easter eggs, there's an Easter egg to near enough every Ninjago season in it. It does so much, and for such a large scale set, it just stands on its own 2 feet. It has a presence about it that I can't help but adore. And like I said, the minifigure association with it as well. You got so many characters in there that are so desirable to this very day. You got Faith, you finally got Dr. Julian, you got Masake, you got Crux, you got Acronix, you got Saunders, you got all of these amazing characters, and I can't help but adore it. And then just to top it off, Young Wu, Young Garmadon, and the first Finjitsu Master just did absolutely everything that I wanted in terms of a character selection. Honestly, the set was worth it alone just for that. So I genuinely do think that even taking into consideration the price point, it was just the third very solid set and did so much for Ninjago Legacy. It's just such a beautiful thing to behold. I can't wait to see it appear in whatever form it's going to within Dragon's Rising as well. It just did so much, and I was so happy to actually get it. And again, I will review it soon. But Legacy started off to such an unbelievably strong start. It was a flawless start in my opinion. It did so much, and I was so happy to actually see that be the case. But there were 2 more sets that we knew were coming down the line. And of course, we all know what those ones were. Like I said, as of the time of recording this video, we do not have the Lloyd Titan Mech or the X1 in hand. If you're watching this in the summer or anything beyond that point, it most definitely means that they're out and I have posted a review about them. But of course, I'm now talking about sets in terms of just the images that we have of them. So starting off with the March set, we knew that we were going to be following up the January wave with the Lloyd Titan Mech from Season 11. And a lot of people were definitely commenting about the quality of this set, and also the price point of it. But I do honestly believe the Titan Mech is following up again with the very strong pace that has been set out. It is a very expensive set, being 120 British pounds, and it is a very steep price and definitely a high ask when it does come to things. But I will say, I do think it does serve its purpose. It is, from what we can tell, bigger than the Coal Titan Mech, which I believe is currently the tallest of the bunch. So it's definitely standing in terms of its size. It's also fairly big and bulky looking, which I do also appreciate. It just looks very well put together. I love the look, I love the aesthetic, and I've always said, if you want to make something better, give it a sword. I will say, this set did initially come with a sword in its original release, so if you can't give it a sword, give it a shield. And again, it looks absolutely amazing. I will say, the one downside I do think was starting to show when this was revealed was the minifigure selection. I have said that I honestly do believe that these sets that are focusing on the mechs do still need to come with a very solid minifigure selection, and for the most part it does come with decent ones. Of course it comes with the Master of Ice, it comes with the Legacy ZX Lloyd, but the thing is that we only get one more. It is a brand new minifigure being Grimfax, and that is an amazing addition to the set, but I will say, I do think we needed at least one more, and I do think it should have been Kataru to make up the Season 11 resistance, but that's just me. But still, regardless of that, I think it's a fantastic looking set and definitely following up in terms of a very strong 2026 Legacy line. I do still think it's going to be a fantastic pickup and I can't wait to get it on day one. Obviously, I'm going to have my issues in terms of the minifigure selection, but I don't think it gets in the way of the overall quality. But like I said, I do think that strong pace was still going. But from everything that I have been saying so far, you may be wondering why I'm even making this video, because I've been extremely positive so far when it does come to Legacy 2026. So that is just it, right? Well, no, because the release of the X1 Ninja Charger has certainly put things into question for me. I am going to start with the positives that do come with this set. I will say, inherently I like the design of the car. I think as a Kai car, it is really good looking. It's sleek, I like the colours, I like the details, I like that giant spoiler on the back. I like, inherently, it as a Kai car. I also do like the Dusk minifigure. I do think that's a very solid looking minifigure, and I actually think it's a really nice way to round off the Elemental Master collectibles. But that's all I have to say nice about this thing. As an X1 Ninja Charger, it completely fails at the vehicle. It doesn't look even barely resembling it, especially considering that up until now, we've actually had some really accurate looking sets. I mean, the blacksmith shop is so accurate looking, so to see this in the exact same wave is blowing my mind. I don't understand why they've decided that this is the X1 Ninja Charger. It isn't the X1. The minifigure selection is also quite abysmal. You get Kai, he doesn't have his shoulder armor, which is just really annoying. I know it's just the ZX shoulder armor and I have about 100 of them, but the thing is that it's still a case of it's not even a completed Kai. Maybe he doesn't fit in the seat with the armor, who knows, but they should have included the armor. He also doesn't come with the Sword of Fire. Again, I understand that this is meant to be a rebooted set, it's meant to be a set that represents a season that he didn't have the sword in, but still give the Sword of Fire. It's still the legacy ZX version of the suit. He should still have that weapon. Cryptor, again, I don't understand how they've managed to do this. I honestly didn't think it was Cryptor at first until I realized about a few hours later. This is the worst Cryptor minifigure that we have actually ever gotten. It looks nothing like him, and I absolutely detest the fact that this is meant to be that villain. Honestly, I just will get it for completion purposes, and that's about it. But again, it still doesn't end there. In comparison to the previous versions of the X1 Ninja Charger, which there were 2 of, more set appearances than show appearances. That's not my joke, by the way. I saw that on Bricks by Mind's comment section. The thing is that they have actually done so much when it does come to doing this car, when the car was only in 1 episode. I don't understand why they're putting this in with some of the most iconic things we've ever seen within the show. It makes no sense to me. And then just to round it all off, just to make it worse in my opinion, this set has 671 pieces. That is about 100 pieces more than the first legacy version of the X1 Ninja Charger. This one has 3 minifigures, whereas the original one I believe had 5 or 6. So we have 100 more pieces and less minifigures. So you may think, it balances all out, fair enough. Well, no, not at all, because this set is retailing for £70. How? This is abysmally a bad deal. This is honestly ridiculous. I will be buying it to review it, of course, but I would honestly recommend for most Ninjago fans to not pick this thing up at full price. I don't understand how they justified this price point when it does come to this set. Of course, people have noted that the blacksmith shop seems fairly expensive, or people have noted that the Titan mech feels fairly expensive, but those ones I could vaguely justify. Not this. This is not justifiable to me. I don't understand how they've charged so much for this set when simply the value is not there. And this is all just going to show that the fact is that the question of, is Legacy 2026 even good, is it being called completely into question? It's so beyond become shaky because this set, in my opinion, has done absolutely everything wrong. Where all of the sets did something right, I genuinely don't see any benefit to this set beyond the fact that car look cool and the final collectible is there. Please don't hate me, John Lego, when I say this, but this set completely comes across as, oh, we made a really good line, we made a really good set of sets, and now we're just gonna do something at the end just to kind of justify people to buy one more, so they have to complete their Elemental Master collection. That is how this comes across to me. This, in my opinion, is a terrible set in so many different ways, just purely by value alone, and that is why I'm really questioning whether or not Legacy 2026 is good. Because on an overall, the fact that this set managed to slip through the cracks and managed to be released in this type of state has definitely made me call into question what is actually going on here. I think this set, in my opinion, is a complete ball drop in comparison to every other Legacy set, and has definitely made me concerned when it does come to future Legacy sets, because Legacy 2026 in its monetary value did extremely well. I believe Old Town even went out of stock, so LEGO have definitely made their money and they're going to continue to make Legacy sets, but if they are going to be at the quality of the X1 Ninja Charger, I am seriously considering whether or not Legacy will actually be good moving forward. In the most binary sense possible, Legacy 2026 is good. You can buy most of the sets and have a very good experience. You can buy every single set apart from the X1 and be happy with your purchase. I am very confident that the Lloyd Titan mech will be absolutely fantastic. It's just simply put, this set has taken this wave of sets from a 10 out of 10 to probably about an 8, because this set, in my opinion, is that abysmal in terms of its value that I really can't consider it to be a good line of sets anymore, because this is reflective of the rest of them. This makes me question so many more of LEGO's decision making, and I for one am extremely worried about going forward. But like I said, the rest is still good. So on an overall, I think Legacy 2026 has been a success. because you can buy every other set apart from the X1 and still have a very good line of minifigures. It's a shame, but you may just have to skip on Dusk, because I just can't really justify the average Ninjago fan picking up a set like this, especially for full price. Obviously, there are alternative solutions like Bricklink, and I heavily encourage you to do so, but honestly, this has brought down the line in a lot of different ways to me. But I'm not gonna not say that Legacy 2026 was good because of how much I enjoy the rest of the sets. It's just such a massive shame that this is how they're gonna end it off. And again, like I said, I'm just worried about the future when it does come to these sets. But thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry for the very gloomy and depressing end, but I'm just so ashamed of LEGO for releasing this set in the state that it is. There are so many things that you should be doing different, and believe me, when this thing comes out, I'm not going to be kind. But like I said, thank you very much for watching, I do hope you enjoyed. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people. And if you do want to support the channel further, which you do not have to, you could ultimately become a channel member and join the legends that you see on screen. Each and every single one of you, thank you so much for your support, it means the world to me. But like I said, that's about it for today, and take care. Okay,